And we will be right back here live after the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
Remember the racist basketball announcer in Oklahoma who was enraged when a high school girls b-ball team took a knee?
They're kneeling. I hope Norman gets there. Huh? Norman. I hope they lose. Come on, Midwest City. They're going to kneel like that? Hell, they even salute the flag? Come on, Mark.
Somebody else heard it.
We are back here.
It was a national story in 2021. The culprit was this man, Matt Rowan, who came up with an excuse so poor it was laughable. His attempt to try and put out the fire was this: I suffer from type 1 diabetes, and during the game my sugar was spiking. While not excusing my remarks, it is not unusual when my sugar spikes that I become disoriented and often say things that are not appropriate as well as hurtful. I do not believe that I would have made such horrible statements absent my sugar spiking.
Somebody else heard it.
We are back here.
Now, Rowan's partner on this dais was Scott Sapulpa. He would out himself, and the online detectives would later discover his Parler account, where he followed the likes of Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Dan Bongino, Rafael Cruz, Team Trump, Donald Trump, and more. Sapulpa would like a post that stated, "It hoped God would miraculously make Donald Trump president." Rowan, it would be uncovered to no one's surprise, is a massive donor to Republican politics. There were many who would cut ties with Rowan. Shockingly, prior to the "I blame my diabetes" excuse, Rowan said it was indeed his co-host, Scott Sapulpa, who made those comments, though hours later he would backtrack and finally come clean. Sapulpa, though, would go on to sue the Oklahoman, the state's largest newspaper by a country mile, and the jury would render this verdict: $25 million from CBS News. It came in the form of $5 million in actual damages and another $20 million in punitive damages. His attorney, Michael Barquette, would say, "We're just so happy for Scott. Hopefully this will vindicate his name." From Tristan Lovelace of Nondoc, jurors reconvened Monday morning to determine the amount of punitive damages Gannett owed to Sapulpa after the Oklahoman's former sports reporter, Cameron Jordan, misidentified Sapulpa as the speaker of a racial slur in an article available on the newspaper's website for about 2.5 hours on March 12, 2021. Punitive damages are awarded in an effort to dissuade further actions by the same defendant or others. The Oklahoman would print their spokesperson, Lark Marie Anton's words: "Although we appreciate the jury's hard work and diligence, we are disappointed with the verdict. There was no evidence presented to the jury that the Oklahoman acted with any awareness that what was reported was false or with any intention to harm the plaintiff. In this case, Gannett intends to seek an appellate review of the case, so they'll appeal." They'd go on to write the Oklahoman corrected the online story within 2.5 hours as information became clear that his co-announcer made the inflammatory remarks. Sapulpa's name did not appear in the print version of the story that appeared the next day, so trying to play cleanup here. Cassie Barquette, Sapulpa's other attorney, released the following statement: "Sapulpa, once a respected teacher and coach, faced a barrage of threats, hate calls, and messages after the story was published and picked up by other media outlets, leading to his virtual termination from his position. The impact extended to Sapulpa's personal life, forcing him to delete all social media accounts as his contact information went viral, resulting in further harassment." Before we get into it, if there are any stories that we missed, hyperlocal, national, global, get at me. Submit those stories to me. My DMs are open on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok. Let me just go through when this all happened, okay? I felt like after listening to this horrendous, racist, terrible, needs to be punished audio, I heard two voices. We all heard two voices. And this is one issue. And it's a big one if you are the victim of this. It is a rush to judgment. I remember seeing Scott Sapulpa's name go all across Twitter, but there was no verification. It was just everybody commenting, Scott Sapulpa, pitchforks. And I didn't want to cover it immediately because I need to see the concrete data. I need to hear it from the horse's mouth. I need to know that this is not that person because there are two people in that booth. And I felt a little uneasy. Once there was clarification, I felt comfortable doing it. Do I think Scott Sapulpa is immune from criticism? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know what should have happened? And I said this initially. You know what should have happened? He should have said something. The fact that he didn't, silence is complicity. His actions that day were terrible. Did he say it? No. But did he try and have a... mic is on. We hear them. They're on a hot mic. Did he try and reprimand Matt Rowan? No, he didn't. So morally, he is completely at fault. Is he the one that said it? No. And thus, I was there, I was listening to it, and I waited. And I know I've been told by others in media, you got to be first. Not always. Not always. And I have a lot of respect for the Oklahoman. I have a lot of respect for the journalists, especially in a southern state that received a lot of flack. I did think that the $25 million was a big, big number. I don't know what the appeal is going to say. But I will say this. They have to own up for their mistake. Because even in those 2.5 hours, and even if the spokesperson tries to minimalize those 2.5 hours, what if that was you? Like, let's just be morally conscious here for a second. What if that was you? And you see your name up there associated with using this language. We would be upset. I would be upset. I would rush to defend myself. And I'd be really pissed off. I think I would have a really bad day, bad week, bad month, bad year that I'm being falsely accused of something that I didn't say. That's probably how he feels. And that's probably how you would feel too. Once again, I reiterate, if there are any stories that we missed, if there are any that you would like us to cover, get at me on social media. We can discuss this in the comments as well, of course, as always. So I'll see you there.